A mighty good time, bro. I mean, she up in Indiana getting licked. It is a popping situation for Caitlin Clark up in Indianapolis this weekend, dog. She was kicking it last night. Y'all already know. Your boy John the Liquidator got some of the footage. Hopefully we do not get copyrighted, but we gonna dive into it before we get into the juicy stuff. Now, this was Caitlin Clark yesterday on Twitch. Let's play some of this. Listen to this.
Criticism has emerged regarding Caitlin Clark's All-Star team selections, with some media figures suggesting her choices represent missed opportunities for league unity. The controversy centers on Clark not selecting Angel Reese for her All-Star squad, with commentators arguing this decision perpetuates unnecessary division within the sport. During the All-Star weekend activities in Indianapolis, Clark has maintained an active presence despite not participating in the three-point contest or playing in the All-Star game itself. Instead, she serves in a coaching capacity for the event. Throughout the weekend, Clark has been spotted at various Indianapolis venues, including appearances at local establishments where she engaged with fans and participated in community events.
Caitlin said she was watching their stream for 3 hours. Now, this was Caitlin at the club. They was at Envy. So I'm guessing this is a nightclub in Indianapolis, man. I'm kind of like regretting not going a little bit, y'all. I ain't lying, man, because just to be here and see this was probably...
Video footage from social media platforms showed Clark attending nighttime venues in Indianapolis, including a location identified as Envy Nightclub. Despite managing a groin injury, Clark appeared to enjoy the festivities, though some observers expressed concern about physical activity levels during her recovery period. The weekend's activities demonstrated Clark's commitment to engaging with the Indianapolis community during this celebratory period. The primary controversy stems from commentary by sports journalists Sarah Spain and Nancy Armour, who discussed Clark's all-star selections during a recent broadcast. Armour had previously written extensively about the potential benefits of Clark choosing Reese for her team, suggesting such a decision could help address problematic fan behavior and demonstrate that perceived rivalries exist primarily in spectator minds rather than between actual players.
Y'all, I ain't lying, man, because just to be here and see this was probably been lit and great content for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But let's listen to it.
Let's turn up tonight. You ready, Trevor? Let's go, bro.
Look at Kayla.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go.
Armour's original argument proposed that witnessing Clark and Reese collaborating on the same all-star team, sharing positive moments, celebrating together, and displaying mutual respect could influence fans to reconsider antagonistic attitudes. She theorized that such visible unity might serve as evidence that animosity between players is largely manufactured by outside observers and media narratives. The columnist suggested that an all-star game featuring both players on the same squad could potentially neutralize some of the league's most problematic fan elements, returning focus to basketball enjoyment rather than manufactured controversies. However, with Clark's decision not to select Reese, Armour characterized this as a squandered opportunity for positive impact.
Now, this was Caitlin last night, man. Completely turned up, dog. And this is great to see. Hopefully she ain't doing a lot of jumping like that, bro, because really Caitlin Clark should be not on her feet like this, bro, with that groin injury. But I ain't going to go at her too hard because it is the All-Star weekend. But, yeah, Caitlin Clark definitely been having a time. And I'm telling you right now, a time was had in Indiana. If you guys have not subscribed to the Stud Buds Twitch,
Spain supported this perspective, acknowledging that all-star games typically lack competitive intensity, making them ideal settings for addressing broader social dynamics. Both commentators expressed disappointment that Clark did not utilize her selection power to make what they viewed as a unifying gesture. The discussion extended beyond team selections to include Clark's decision regarding coaching arrangements. Rather than working with Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve, Clark opted to switch coaches for the all-star game, while Nafisa Collier later clarified that this change originated from her suggestion. Initial broadcast footage showed Clark expressing indifference to rules and preference for alternative coaching arrangements.
Was had in Indiana. If you guys have not subscribed to the Stud Buds Twitch account, highly recommend you guys going on over to Twitch. Check it out. They're running a 72-hour live over there, but we have to dive into the topic of discussion, and that is Caitlin Clark being criticized for not picking Angel Reese to be her damn partner. Guys, so Sarah, I believe her name is Sarah Spain. She had Nancy Armour on her show, and both of them criticized Caitlin Clark for not picking Angel Reese in the All-Star game in an effort to build.
This coaching decision drew additional criticism from the same commentators, who interpreted it as unnecessarily provocative behavior that could inflame existing tensions. They suggested that Clark's actions, whether intentional or not, contributed to ongoing narrative conflicts within the league. Spain expressed appreciation for Clark's competitive spirit and playing style while simultaneously questioning whether Clark adequately addresses concerning fan behavior associated with her popularity. The commentator noted the significant challenges facing any young athlete managing unprecedented attention levels and complex social dynamics.
Angel Reese in the All-Star game in an effort to build more unity. Nancy says no one cares about the All-Star game. Anyway, they also attacked Caitlin Clark for trading coaches, even though they acknowledged Fee said it first. Now, I told y'all, bro, I was the one that kind of broke that story, breaking it all down about Fee line. And, yeah, man, let's listen to what they had to say.
You actually wrote a column arguing that Caitlin Clark could quiet some of the worst of her fan base, some of those people you were just referring to, by selecting Angel Reese to her.
Armour referenced Clark's Time Magazine Athlete of the Year interview, where Clark distanced herself from problematic fan behavior by stating such individuals do not represent her beliefs or values. However, both commentators suggested Clark could take more proactive approaches to addressing concerning fan conduct if she genuinely opposed it. The conversation highlighted ongoing debates about athlete responsibility for fan behavior, particularly regarding social media commentary and public discourse. Both Spain and Armour acknowledged the difficulty of expecting young players to manage complex social issues while recognizing the platform and influence accompanying Clark's prominence.
Fan base, some of those people you were just referring to, by selecting Angel Reese to her all-star team, acknowledging that there will be some who will still send all those, horrific racist messages to Reese and other players who are deemed quote unquote enemies of Clark. But you wrote, quote, Clark and Reese being on the same all-star team, connecting on the court, laughing together and high-fiving one another, could show the still persuadable folks this animosity is the stuff of their own imaginations and it's time to move on. And wouldn't it be nice if this All-Star game was the catalyst for defanging the WNBA's worst fans and making the league once again a place to simply enjoy basketball?
The commentators suggested that Clark's age and relative inexperience in professional sports created challenging circumstances, but they also argued that her increased visibility and influence carried corresponding responsibilities. They proposed that Clark could implement various strategies to discourage problematic fan behavior if she genuinely wanted to address these issues. Spain noted that simply responding to direct questions about fan conduct differs significantly from proactive efforts to discourage harmful behavior. The commentators suggested that Clark's current approach, while understandable given her circumstances, might be insufficient for addressing the scope of problems associated with toxic fan elements.
Simply enjoy basketball.
Ooh.
End quote. That did not happen. So,
No.
Missed opportunity in your mind that Clark didn't do that.
I think a missed opportunity, it's an all-star game. Nobody takes these things seriously anyway. So yeah, I think it would have been a good opportunity. Angel and Caitlin can say all they want. We are fine. We don't have beef. Are they the best of friends? Of course not.
The discussion reflected broader conversations within women's professional basketball regarding player advocacy, fan management, and media relationships. These topics remain central as the league continues adapting to increased attention and scrutiny accompanying rising popularity and expanded public interest in women's sports. Both commentators emphasized their general support for Clark as a player and competitor while expressing concerns about missed opportunities for positive leadership and community building within the sport. Their criticism focused not on Clark's basketball basity or competitive approach, but rather on strategic decisions that could impact league culture and fan behavior patterns.
Later says there's no one who's more equipped to sit at the table for Victor Biani said running on rivals taught two stars how to negotiate media rights, deals and sponsorships. whether he's heard anything I've heard but I'm not privy to share. I mean this when I say this. I actually agree with that point. I really do agree with that point. Like, I agree that Fee and Stewie are well equipped to be at those meetings, but I also think there is a conflict of interest, and it is understandable why people are like, look, there is a conflict of interest here. What are we doing?
A significant discussion has emerged regarding WNBA athletes and their involvement with Unrivaled League during collective bargaining agreement negotiations. The situation presents complex dynamics around potential conflicts of interest that warrant examination. The controversy centers on whether players participating in Unrivaled can simultaneously represent WNBA interests during contract discussions. Alex Bezos, Nafisa Collier's spouse, addressed these concerns by stating that Unrivaled was never positioned as a competitive weapon against the WNBA. He expressed optimism about reaching a CBA resolution while acknowledging that both Collier and Brianna Stewart possess exceptional qualifications for negotiation participation.
If there is a conflict of interest here, what are we doing? Because Brianna Stewart has said it herself. It's not a conflict of interest. It's just a little bit different. Things we can take from Unrivaled, a TV deal, how incredible it was, but also the numbers behind it, like having 3 games per week. People are constantly paying attention to it, whether it's Fee, me, or somebody else in Unrivaled. We understand it's the standard now. Like, that is literally her saying it's conflict of interest. Like, it is, like, it's one of those things, and I wish I had made this video last night. I just wasn't home. Obviously, when I tweeted this out.
Bazell emphasized that operating
I just wasn't home, obviously, when I tweeted this out. And I've only literally got home. I'm recording. I have the Caitlin Clark video out first. I have this video, a Sarah Spain video, and then I am going to sleep. I slept like 4 hours last night. And, well, I've got to stream 2K and I got to sleep. Like, but at the end of the day, this is something that is just, it's just weird. It is just really, really weird. Like, I think in general, it's
These comments essentially acknowledge using Unrivaled experiences as reference points for WNBA negotiations, which contradicts earlier denials about conflicts of interest. The apparent inconsistency in messaging creates confusion about the true relationship between both leagues. The fundamental issue involves whether athletes can objectively negotiate for one league while simultaneously operating a competing organization. Logic suggests inherent tensions exist between these roles, regardless of stated intentions. When players reference Unrivaled standards during WNBA discussions, they essentially confirm using their alternative league as leverage. This approach isn't necessarily problematic from a strategic standpoint. Athletes should utilize available resources to improve their negotiating positions. Competition between leagues often benefits players through enhanced compensation and working conditions. The concern lies primarily in the lack of transparent acknowledgement about these dynamics.
something that, like, I don't mind these players using Unrivaled as some sort of a bargaining chip. I don't hate it. Like, I actually don't hate it. The players use whatever the hell you want for leverage. And I don't understand why that's seen as such a big negative. But I'm like, the players should use literally whatever they feel like. Whatever the players want. Use whatever way you can get leverage. Use
Rather than engaging in defensive responses to legitimate questions about potential conflicts, a more straightforward approach might prove beneficial. Admitting that Unrivaled provides additional leverage while maintaining commitment to WNBA success could address public concerns without compromising negotiation strategies. The reality suggests that players are indeed using Unrivaled facilities and operational models as baseline expectations for WNBA improvements. Whether they achieve all desired enhancements remains uncertain, but the comparison provides concrete examples for their demands. Social media discussions have amplified these debates, with journalists fielding questions driven by online conversations. This creates continuous cycles where media coverage generates social media reactions, which then prompt additional media inquiries. The resulting attention may exceed the actual significance of the underlying issues.
Use whatever you can. Use whatever you can for leverage. And I just don't understand why, like, certain players have to be so combative at the they have to be so combative about fans, and they're trying to, like, go out of their way to make it so that the fans who are saying it's a conflict of interest like clapping back at them when it clearly.
From practical perspectives, both Stewart and Collier likely participated in previous CBA negotiations based on their experience levels and leadership roles. Their unrivaled involvement adds new dimensions, but doesn't fundamentally alter their existing responsibilities to fellow players. The conflict of interest concerns appear more significant to external observers than to league operations. Organizations understand that players will pursue every available advantage during negotiations. Smart businesses prepare for these dynamics rather than expressing surprise about strategic behavior.
Back at them when there clearly is the argument it's a conflict of interest. Like, there clearly is an argument for it to be a conflict of interest because Stewie said it herself. Like, they can't just keep saying there's no conflict of interest. Because at the end of the day, there is a conflict of interest there. But at the same time, like, I wish they would just come out and say it. They're like, is there a conflict of interest? Started off being like,
long-term implications remain unclear regarding whether these tensions might contribute to work stoppages. Both sides typically exhaust alternative solutions before considering lockouts or strikes. The interconnected nature of both leagues also suggests mutual benefits from avoiding extreme measures. Unrivaled success partially depends on WNBA's continued popularity and player development. Conversely, WNBA benefits from enhanced player profiles and additional revenue streams. This symbiotic relationship should encourage collaborative rather than adversarial approaches.
Started off being like, we've never used it as a competitive tool against the WNBA, but at the same time, it shows the standards that players should expect from a women's sports league. What we've been able to do, just anything along those lines. Because let's be real, they are using Unrivaled in this. They are using the Unrivaled facilities as a baseline, which I don't think they're going to be able to get, by the way. I don't think the Unrivaled facilities is something that...
The broader context involves evolving women's professional sports landscapes where athletes increasingly control their careers and business opportunities. Traditional league structures must adapt to these changes or risk losing talent to alternative platforms. Rather than viewing Unrivaled as purely competitive threat, WNBA leadership might consider potential partnerships or complementary scheduling that benefits both organizations. Creative solutions often emerge from initially challenging situations. The ongoing discussions highlight fundamental questions about player autonomy, league loyalty, and business ethics in professional sports. These debates will likely continue as athletes gain greater control over their careers and revenue generation.
I don't think the Unrivaled facilities is something that is I don't think they're going to get what they fully got in Unrivaled. But at the same time, I don't know why they keep trying to have some weird argument. Is it or is it not a conflict of interest? Because the only people that are talking about this are random tweets. Like, the reporters are being asked the questions. Like, I just don't think...
Ultimately, the situation reflects broader trends toward player empowerment across professional sports. While creating temporary tensions, these dynamics often produce improved conditions and compensation structures that benefit entire player populations. The focus should remain on achieving fair agreements that recognize both league sustainability and player value. Whether through traditional negotiations or alternative leverage sources, the goal involves creating mutually beneficial outcomes for all stakeholders involved in women's professional basketball.